dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh no dear. Never. No, I can't say that, can I? So I appear to have pissed quite a lot of people off on TikTok based on the last episode. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take like little clips from each episode and then put them on like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels. So I put a little clip on about me comparing how people react to when you quit cocaine to how people react when you say you're not drinking. And obviously it was a soundbite. It was taken out of context from the episode. Obviously, if you watch the whole episode, like I spent a good couple of minutes talking about it. So yeah, I put this little soundbite on and everyone has just jumped on it. There's all these like 14-year-old kids commenting, being like, "What? Why are you just sat in your living room talking to yourself, mate?" I'm like, you clearly don't understand how a podcast works, do you? And how social media works. Like, if I didn't have these cameras rolling, I obviously wouldn't be just sat here having this conversation with myself. Like, I'm doing it for a reason. But yeah, that was funny. So yeah, welcome back to the channel, guys. I believe this is episode 9 now. So we're really churning out the episodes. I believe it was Chris Williamson that said, I may be wrong, but I believe the exact number was about, I think he said about 10% of podcasters make it past 20 episodes, I believe. So we're well on our way to episode 20. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all well. We've got a pretty interesting topic today, to be fair, in terms of one that you should definitely get a lot of takeaways from and a lot of actual applicable information that you can apply to your own training. So before we dive into the episode properly, I just want to give, for those of you that don't know, a little bit of background into me. So I have been training now for about 7 years. I have been a in-person personal trainer for the last 5, and about, I think it might actually nearly be a year to the day. I remember when I got back from Lanzarote last year, that was when I booked my first ever High Rocks and decided that I was going to do that style of training. So yeah, all in all, 7 years of training experience and just over a year now of the hybrid training. I think it's very popular nowadays, and I think rightly so. It is, like I say, I've come from a not a body, but I always call it bodybuilding background, but I've never done bodybuilding, like stepped on stage or anything. I did a photo shoot. So I suppose I've always came from a physique orientated background. Like the main purpose behind my training was to put on size, put on as much muscle as I could, and look as good as I could. The only bit of cardio I pretty much did for the best part of 3 to 5 years was about 30 minutes on the Stairmaster per week, and that was it. Everything else was just your typical like push-pull legs, upper body, lower body style training, which like obviously at the time I really enjoyed, but you tend to find this, and it tends to be a bit of a trend. Obviously I'm 26 now, so what I've seen tends to be that you get a lot of people that when they're 17, 18, and then through to their early 20s, they do exactly what I did, and all their training is tailored towards physique goals in terms of it's all about how you look. But I feel like once you start getting to mid sort of 20s and beyond, that's when you see a lot of people start shifting from the physique orientated goal and actually start incorporating more sort of overall health related stuff. So they start doing more running, or they start doing just any cardio in general. They go more performance based, which is essentially what I've done for the last year. Like, I've not tracked calories for months. Obviously I've been on and off with tracking calories for like 5 years, so like I know what my body needs to get me through intense training sessions, and I know what I need to be eating day to day to be hitting a rough maintenance or to be in a slight surplus. So I eat relatively similar meals, so that's why I've not felt the need to be doing any of that. But yeah, it's been a weird one because and I've said this to a lot of people. I don't know. I don't think I've said it on a podcast episode yet. I may be wrong. Like I say, I've switched from a physique orientated style of training to more of a performance style of training. So it's like I say, with my running, with the high rocks training, the main goal is to be getting stronger, be getting quicker, faster. Like, I've not been too fussed about like what my scale weight is, what my body fat percentage is. But by not focusing on that, I've almost kind of like got the best of both worlds now. In terms of, yes, I've been heavier. Like, I think I'm about 73 kilos at the minute. Heaviest I was when I was just weightlifting was about 79. So yeah, I was probably carrying a bit more muscle back then. But yeah, I mean, like, in terms, like, again, I'm not bothered what it is in a way, but I did my body fats at work the other day, and they came across at 6%, which is the lowest that I've been for a very long time, as far as I can remember. But like I say, it's weird because it's not something that I'm focused on. But by doing this style of training, like I say, I'd probably look the best I've looked for a long while, and I'm by a country mile the fittest that I've ever been. So, and I made an Instagram post about this quite a while ago in terms of, I think people are finally starting to understand, and there's a lot of people in the industry doing it 10 times better than what I'm doing, and on a lot more bigger scale. People are realizing that you can have the best of both. Like, doing all this cardio does not mean that you're going to just lose all your muscle. Like, you look at some of the guys that do high rocks now, and like CrossFit in general, and even running. Like, there's some big guys, muscly guys that are running some really, really quick times. Like, obviously, I follow a lot of the stuff that Represent do, and Ollie Marchon and people like that. And it's like, I look at that LA marathon that they did, and you look at someone like Ollie Marchon, like, I think he's quite short, I think, but like he is built like a brick shithouse, and he ran I think it was a 3 hour 19 marathon with cramp like halfway round as well. So there's people out there that are doing both very well and very successfully, and it's definitely something that I inspire to do for sure. So yeah, that's enough of me rambling on about that. So yeah, I'm basically going to run you through what I consider, and obviously the title of this video is, this is the best training split. Now, best is subjective. I feel like this has been the best for me personally, and I really like the flexibility that you can have with this sort of training plan that I've been doing, whatever your goal is. So I'm gonna relate it to my goal at the minute. So obviously we've got the 120 mile marathon relay run coming up in 4 weeks' time as of me recording this. So a lot of my training at the minute is predominantly running. I'm running 3 times a week, and I'm slowly, over some of the sessions, I'm slowly increasing the distance just to get my legs used to being on my feet for a prolonged period of time. But I'm going to give you some examples of how you can change this depending on your goal, okay? For me at the minute, this is how a training week looks. Monday is a run. Now, at the minute, this run will typically be some sort of lower intervals. So what do I mean by that? It would consist of anywhere between, it might be 1,000 meter intervals, it might be 800, it might be 400. I haven't really gone as low as 200 for the time being, because that's pointless for the event that I'm doing. So, so yeah, that could look something like 8 lots of 1,000 meters with a minute rest in between, or I could do maybe 3 lots of 1,000, or 3 lots of 800, and then 3 lots of 400, or I may even do it the other way around. So it's some sort of interval running session with short breaks in between each session. Now, Tuesday is my High Rocks themed session. Now, obviously, at the minute, I don't actually have any High Roxers planned or booked, but it's something that I want to be able to still keep on top of, just in case I do decide to book one. So Tuesday for me is my High Rocks focus day. Now, that will consist of, typically it tends to be 3 like strength movements, maybe 4, depends how I feel on the day. So it'll potentially be some sort of heavy squats for low reps. It will then be some sort of heavy lunges, so either reverse lunge or heavy split squats for higher reps. And then usually it will include either a sled push or a sled pull at High Rocks weights, or sometimes, again, depending on if I'm feeling okay, I will potentially do both. That is the big strength block that I'm doing. And then I will then do some sort of a circuit finisher at the end of that session, typically trying to get involved with the ski erg and the row. So it'll be X amount of distance on ski erg and row, and then other stuff kind of mingled in there as well. So maybe do like burpees, wall balls, farmers carries, just anything that's High Rocks related, just in a short sort of maybe either 3 to 4 rounds of a circuit, or I may do a 20 minutes, as many rounds as possible. So yeah, that's the only High Rocks session I'm doing at the moment. Wednesday is then a rest day, so I don't do any training at all on a rest day. Obviously, I get a decent step count in with my job being a PT, walking around on the gym floor a lot of the day. So yeah, that's a complete rest day. I've got the luxury of having steam room and sauna facilities at work. So Wednesday, I'll always aim to do 20-30 minutes in the sauna just to help promote recovery. Wednesday night, I always make sure that I get a good night's sleep. I try to make sure every night that I get a good night's sleep, but especially on them rest days, I want to try and make sure that I'm getting the most out of that. Thursday is then another running day for me. So it's Thursday today as I've recorded this. So that session at the minute tends to be running for time. So as an example, what I've done today was I did 1K warm-up, nice easy pace. I then did 4 minutes like hard pace, 1 minute recovery jog, and I repeated that 5 times. So that's how the Thursday session tends to be structured. Some weeks I could be running for 4 minutes. I think one week I did like 8 minutes hard, 2 minutes recover. That was really tough. So yeah. So Monday tends to be the distance intervals. Thursday tends to be like more running for time intervals, if that makes sense. Friday for me now is, I suppose, a quote-unquote bodybuilding session. So it was a High Rock session, but again, I wanted to just keep one solely bodybuilding focused session in. So that's where I'll be doing, I try to cover full body as best as I can, but mainly focusing on upper body. So chest movements, back movements, shoulders. I'll tag on a little bit of arms. And then I've also been trying to just throw a little bit of legs in there. So at the minute, I've been just chucking a leg extension. And then, again, I'm also fortunate enough at the gym to have a lower back extension. So if you're not aware what that is, the pad basically sits on the top of your back here and you push back into it. Really good for training your lower back. So I try and throw that in as well just to keep on top of things. And then Saturday tends to be that's my long run day. So last week I did 10K with Dom. So at the minute, again, depending on how I'm feeling or depending on what is programmed for me that day, the distance on that day could probably be anywhere between 12K up to about 18. With us doing this event in 4 weeks' time, over these next 2 or 3 weeks, I am going to slowly start upping that. I do think realistically I need to at least attempt to try and get a 25 to 30k run under my belt just to see how my legs cope under that amount of distance. And then Sunday will be a rest day as well. So yeah, the reason I'm a big fan of this plan is because, like I say, so at the minute I've got 3 runs, 1 high rocks day, 1 bodybuilding day, and then 2 rest days. But the beauty of this is that whatever event I have planned, like, you can literally just take sessions out and replace them with something else. So let's say I do this run event and then I decide to book another high rocks. Now, straight away, I know that Friday session will go back to being a high rock session. And then potentially I could keep the 3 runs in, because obviously running is a big component of high rocks. Or if I wanted to, because I've been doing so much running for these last 8, 10, 12 weeks, and I've been running 3 times a week, I could even pull one of them running sessions and then replace that with a high rock session. So I'd be doing, 3 high rock sessions, 2 runs, and then 2 rest days. So I just think that doing that, it just works so well. And again, if I ever decided to do let's say I wanted to do a photo shoot again, and I think, yeah, I'm just going to spend 10, 12 weeks trying to just pack on as much muscle as possible, then again, I can just, two of them, I can take out 1 high rock session, 1 run, and replace those with bodybuilding sessions. And again, I could cover everything in terms of, I could do like upper body, lower body, and then upper body again. So I just find that for me, this, and that's why I'm saying that this is probably one of the best splits that you can do, because whatever the goal is under this hybrid training model, you can adapt it to the goal. And then obviously, like, occasionally on them rest days, if I feel okay, then I may do a weight session. Like, I might just be like, you know what, I feel okay today, so I'm just going to do a bit of chest and arms, because that's not then going to affect me running the next day. So there's so much sort of flexibility that you can have with it based on how you feel. And it's not a case of, like, if you miss a session for whatever reason and you think, and it's ruined your whole routine for the week, and you think, oh, I can't do that session again till the following week, because then it's going to mess up my training plan. So yeah, I just think it's a really useful way to split up your training for those of you that are wanting to go down the hybrid route and start running, but then you don't want to be stopping the weightlifting. Or if any of you are thinking of doing high rocks, like, that would be a really good sort of starting point in my opinion. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this one up here, guys. I really hope you found this useful today. Like I say, there's definitely a lot of useful takeaway points from this episode from a training perspective. I know I haven't really covered an awful lot of stuff training wise, so that's why I wanted to put this episode together today. If you do have any questions on anything that I've spoke about, or anything that doesn't make sense, or if you want any further explanation on anything, feel free to drop a comment below or drop me a DM directly, and I'll be more than happy to advise as best as I can. If you did find this video useful, please be sure to drop it a like, and if you aren't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as it helps us out massively, and it's going to help us to keep on growing the channel. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you next time.